Hey everyone, it's Tony, alcoholic. Here to do part three of more about alcoholism, step one. And here we're going to start talking about Jim. Like I said before, there's about four stories in here. In this chapter, these are pretty good, well known. And here's Jim the car salesman. Our first example is a friend, and we shall call him Jim. This man has a charming wife and a family. He inherited a lucrative automobile agency. He had a commendable World War record. He's a good salesman. Everybody likes him. He's an intelligent man, normal so far as we can see, except for the nervous disposition. And I had that circled, and I'll explain it in a second. He did no drinking until he was 35. In a few years, he he became so violent, had that on the line, when intoxicated, that he had to be committed. On leaving the asylum, he came to in contact with us. So far we see Jim. He's a normal guy. Everybody loves him. Happy go lucky guy. Um and um and he's making money, right? He inherited a business. So so what else could be wrong, right? He's on top of the world, right? But we also see that he has some type of I don't know, nervous disposition, and who knows, what was the result of this, you know? We know from two lines that we just read in front of this sentence here that he had a commendable World War record. You know, so he served during SOAR action. So who knows? Maybe it's related to some type of PTSD. Which um which I'm pretty sure during that time was an imminent condition. Um, but we know that his drinking is really bad, and that he's becoming violent. And no so violent that he can't be home alone, right? So he has to go to the hospital. And goes on to say, when we told him that we knew of his alcoholism and his and the answers we had found, he made a beginning, right? So almost step one and step two here we see. His family was reassembled, and he began to work as a salesman for a business he had lost to drinking. All went well for a time, but he failed to enlarge on his spiritual life. So there's a stop there. Okay, so here we got a guy. He inherited a business, making big money, on top of the world, right? Owns a owns a car car sales business. Um, and and we see that he lost his family due to his drinking, and but it was starting to get his things back together, and he got a job back. But what type of job did he get? He ended up going back to the same place that he owned, right? So I mean, if you try to put yourself in, how many people would do well with going back and starting on the bottom, on the bottom of the ladder of a place where they once owned, they're the top dog, management, the owner, and now you just like a peon employee, so I mean we could start to see how that may affect his his drinking, right? Or make it want to come back. I know that would, especially alcoholics, we have so much ego and pride, and we want to do things our way. I'm pretty sure it bothered him a whole lot. So he went back to work for probably the people who he used to be in charge of, right? So now the people that were under him are now his co-workers. And it says here, all went well for a time, right? Isn't that the case? When we stop drinking, everything goes good for a short while. But then it goes on to say, but he failed to enlarge in his spiritual life. So what does that mean there? I have it highlighted on my spiritual life. Finding a higher power, you know, taking it, you know, taking it to the next level, enriching yourself spiritually. maybe going through the steps, maybe finding church or something like that. Whatever it is, you gotta, it's something about just not only do you have to be spiritually spiritually sober, you'll also have to be spiritually fit, and you also have to be away from the drink, so you can stop. Anybody can stop drinking, but not everybody can stay stopped, so you can be you can be in a program, going through the steps, going through the fellowship, or may not go through steps, I should say that, but just going through the fellowship and just come to the meetings and just going to meetings, but you haven't really um done anything else, as far as your program goes, so you hear it, you hear the terms in the room where like they'll say the person, you're spiritually sick, you know so, or spiritually drunk. So it says here, so to his consternation, he found himself drunk half a dozen times in rapid succession. I mean, no duh, right? Kind of knew that was going to happen, just for the fact that he lost his job, lost his wife, and now he had to take a job which probably considers it's beneath him. On each of these occasions, we worked with him, the AA guys, reviewing carefully what had happened. He agreed he was a real alcoholic and in serious condition. He knew he faced another trip to the asylum if he kept on. Moreover, he would lose his family for whom he had deep, deep affection. So, if I go back to some of my notes here, this will go back to the spiritual life. I have here on the side here, he didn't find God, right? He didn't find his higher power. And then go to the end of this little paragraph, where it says he knew he faced another trip to the asylum, and that he would lose his family. So basically, at this point he has some fear, some desire, to get sober, and what's kind of like pushing him into that zone of wanting to get sober is the fear of losing everything, right? So I would kind of consider Jim a little bit lucky at this point, because he's starting to really understand step one, what his life is unmanageable. He knows that, and now he just has to kind of like come to grips and make that admittance, that his life is really manageable, and he needs to turn it over, to the care of who? Care of a higher power, right? Because if we don't, as alcoholics, and I have these little notes here. There's really three ends of the roads, as I call it, where we end up. If we can't stay in the rooms, can't get sober, we're gonna end up either deaf, jails, asylums, and that's pretty much it. Three end of the roads: deaf, jails, and asylums, or institutions, as some people would say. Either case, it's those are roads to nowhere. We also consider Jim here a low bottom drinker. Joe and Charlie on their tapes, they talk about the low bottom drinker. So a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, I've also gotten from them. So the low bottom drinker is a person who lost everything. So it's usually probably the typical Hollywood story of rags to riches, and then back to rags, and drinking and drugging, and how some people with a lot of talent just lose everything. And if we're curious about what this word consternation, I have it defined. Consternation is a feeling of anxiety, dismay, at something unexplained. Yet he got drunk again. We asked him to tell us exactly how it happened. This is his story. I came to work on Tuesday morning, and I have a little arrow here that says Tuesday morning. Who comes to work on Tuesday morning? What happened to Monday? Says, I remember I felt irritated that I once had to be a salesman for a concern I once owned. Just like what I said before. He's pissed off, he's irritated because now he's back to a lowly salesman in a place that he used to own. Goes, I had a few words with the boss, um, but nothing serious. And we all know that, whenever you're having a few words with the boss, a lot of times those words aren't nice, at least on their part, and you probably gotta, Jim here probably had to, you know, eat a little crap and hold his tongue, which is, we all know it's hard for alcoholics. So he had a few words with the boss, but nothing serious. Then I decided to drive into the country and see one of my prospects for a car, right? So nothing crazy here. He has some few words with the boss, and now he just wants to get the hell out of there and go for a drive, clear his head, and he's gonna go down to the country, check out check out a couple spots that he used to know, and maybe sell a car. On the way there, he felt hungry, so I stopped at the roadside place where they have a bar. Well, so far nothing crazy here going on, right? I mean, other than why are we going to a place that has a bar? But again, 1930s, probably every diner or every roadside place may have had a bar too. I know at least here in New York, most of the diners here all have alcohol behind the counters. So in any case, he went to go stop in a place, um, to go eat something because he felt hungry. And again, nothing crazy, nothing out of ordinary going here. And of course, just like we all, right? We never have intentions of drinking, and he had no intention of drinking. I just thought I would get a sandwich. That's it. Nothing all, right? Just gonna get a sandwich. Again, nothing crazy going on here, no bad thinking. I also had the notion that I might find a customer for a car at this place, which was familiar, for I had been going to it for years. So again, it's an old stomping grounds, nothing crazy, very familiar. We know what are his initial motives for going to this place? Just to get something to eat. That's it, and maybe try to make some money, trying to make a deal. And he says, I had eaten there many times during the months I was sober. So again, familiar grounds. We've gone there before, never had any issues. He says, I sat down at the table and ordered a sandwich and a glass of milk. Again, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing crazy. A little sandwich, a little milk. He's doing good so far. Still, I had no thoughts of drinking. Still doing good. Nothing crazy coming to his head. Just gonna get some food. Maybe try to sell a car. Try to make some money. Um, and he goes on to say, I ordered another sandwich. Now he's on his second sandwich, and then he decided to have another glass of milk. So two sandwiches, two glasses of milk, and you figure he'd be done, right? Figure he'd be full, hungry. But then here comes a crazy squiggly line, right? So when you have the squiggly line, that's Bill trying to tell us, trying to make a point. Crazy writing, a lot of times comes crazy thinking, and here comes the sanity thinking, and the the session of the mind, and from page 30, and mental blank spots from page 24, which I spoke about, I believe, in the first video. So here we go. Suddenly, the thought crossed my mind, all right, which is a problem. Now we got some bad thinking going on here. Cross Came across my mind that if I was to put an ounce of whiskey in my milk, it couldn't hurt me on a full stomach. I ordered a whiskey and poured it into the milk. Uh-oh, you know? So here we go. Bad thinking, right? A session in the mind saying, I think I can, maybe I can be just like, regular guys, or the I got this attitude, or I can handle this, what's just one drink gonna do? Or you know what, one drink may hurt me, but you know what? I have a full belly. I had two sandwiches, I had two glasses of milk, so you know what? I'll mix this with milk, and that'll coat it up, right? I'm pretty sure many of us has tried that. You know, coffee and liquor, coffee, tomato juice in the mornings, Bloody Marys. Try to, have wine instead of beer, have beer instead of wine, or whatever it is. we try to do to convince ourselves that it's going to be okay, right? That's the obsession of the mind. And he says here, I vaguely, right? Because, he's already decided, I mean, he says here in the story, I went in there with no intentions of drinking, but you know what? Maybe, deep down inside, he may have had these notions, because he went to a place that's familiar to him. And and brings up another story. I mean, another point. Um, you know, I a lot of relapses seems to happen in a lot of our old stomping grounds. Familiar places, familiar people, familiar scene, so because our mind, goes, we have muscle memory, just like when you're working out, you got muscle memory. So our minds, when our minds are stressed or we're not thinking right, we go back to what we know. So he vaguely sensed that he was not being any too smart, but he felt reassured that he was taking whiskey on a full stomach. Oh yeah, I'm okay. He reassured himself, right? Self-diagnosis, right? He's his own doctor. Hey, you could do this. The experiment was so well, success. It worked that he ordered another whiskey and poured it into more milk. All right, so I took that first drink, probably waited 5, 10 minutes, nothing happened, right? Sometimes, like we hear in AA, oh, stay away from the first drink, stay away from the first drink. And I think people tend to take it where, hey, if I take that first drink, it's gonna knock me on my butt. I'm gonna get completely bonkers. I'm gonna go out of my mind. And a lot of times that's not the case, especially especially when we built up such a high tolerance, for alcohol. But what that first drink does is really gets our lips wet, and gets us ready. It's kind of like the appetizer, before the dinner. It just gets our palates going for the next 2 to 20 that drinks that are going to follow. So that's why you stay away from the first drink. So you don't get that appetite, that taste for it, because once you get that taste, then it's gonna trigger the allergy, and then it's gonna trigger the desires for more, and it's gonna trigger the allergies, and then boom, you're gonna be off to the off to the races. Um, so he said experiment went so well that he ordered another whiskey and poured it into milk. Didn't seem to bother me, so I tried another. So now here he sees now he's like on this third drink. So the first one went good. Experiment went well, didn't bother him. So then he had a second one. That worked pretty good. So now he's on his third. And for Jim, that pretty much set him off to the races. That pretty much was it for him. And then he goes to say, thus started one more journey to the asylum for Jim. Um, so I mean, one can argue that it didn't take Jim the first drink; it took him the first 3 drinks. But the problem is, we just can't stop at one. 1 equals 20, 1 equals 30. If Jim was able to stop at that first, that second, and that third, then we wouldn't be reading about him because he would be a normal drinker. And that's the difference. A normal drinker or a civilian, as some people say in AA, are people that can handle the liquor. They can have 1 or 2 drinks and be done with, and they're good. We have 1 or 2 drinks and we're like, whoo, let's go. Um, so let's continue. Here thus started one more journey to the silent for Jim, and here was the threat of commitment, the loss of his family, position, and to say nothing less of the intense mental and physical suffering which drinking always caused him, and of course the embarrassment, right? So, I mean, he already lost his business the first time because of drinking, and now and his family, and I got his family back, and he got his business back, but he got a job back. They threw him a couple of breadcrumbs, and he got him a job. Now he's gonna lose that job. As crummy as it may be, at least to him, that he's a lowly salesman again. But probably back at this time in the 1935, 36, 37, whenever he got back from the war, and uh, you know times of depression, things are probably, hard up for a lot of these people. A job is scarce, so he needs it. So it says here, he go back to Squiggly writing. He goes, he had much knowledge about himself as an alcoholic. So, we all know what the issue is, and he knew what the issue was. Yet all reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea that he can take a whiskey if only he mix it with milk. Again, so that foolish idea, or go back to set. He goes, yet all reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside. Those reasons for not drinking that were easily pushed aside. Those are the mental blank spots. That's on page 24 in the book, which I spoke about in the first video, and I probably mentioned it in the second one. Those mental blank spots are what keeps us from remembering all the stupid crap or shit stuff that we did in the past, and it's easily pushed aside. Those memories are easily pushed aside. We don't remember them because now we're doing good. I got my job back. He got it, or he got a job. He got his family back. Things are going good. That hopelessness was replaced with hope. So now you've forgotten about it. And once you forget about it, or you start trying to bury it, or try to move on from the past, that's where the other little devil that's sitting on your shoulder will push in, and then you start getting these crazy ideas, and those ideas are what we call mental blank spots. Also, I have here a little note. Sometimes brainstorms. So it's like these great ideas. What if I do this? What if I mix it with milk? What if I eat it with a sandwich? What about if I I don't know, mix it with Jello, like Jello shots, right? I don't know. So whatever we try to do, have water in between our drinks, space it out, stuff like that. Drink on the weekends, don't drink during the week. Whatever these crazy ideas we do to try to manage our alcohol, or control drinking, basically. It is, in the end, it catches up to us, because what are we drinking? 5 drinks a day, Monday to Friday, you know, or if we're just or if we're abstaining Monday to Friday, but you know what, Saturday and Sunday I'm drinking 20 or 30, because Monday to Friday I didn't drink my couple of drinks. It's going to catch up to you at the end of the week. So it says, whatever the precise definition of the word may be, um, we call this plain insanity, craziness, right? Again, I have here, see page 24 on 30, because that's what he's talking about: mental blank spots, and and uh, and an obsession of the mind. He says, how can such a lack of proportion of the ability to think straight be called anything else? And I have it here, I wrote crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, it's crazy thinking, and he uses the word plain insanity, because drinking alcohol is a disease of the mind and body. The mind tells us we can, I think I can, we can drink, but the body ensures that we don't, right? And that's why we get sick, and that's why we do crazy, stupid things. So it's always like this balance, this yin and yang that we're always constantly fighting in our mental minds. That's why it's important that we got to go to the meetings, we got to do the work, we got to stay in the fellowship, we got to stay involved, we got to stay service work, because when you go to these meetings, it helps you to remember all the stupid shit that we did. Because when you're at a meeting and you hear a story, or you hear people's stories, 99% of the time, something's gonna click in your head, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did that too. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, something like that." And those little sparks of remembrance is all that is needed to help us, uh, to stay straight, and not to try to repeat, and not to try to repeat history and do the same stupid shit that we did before. Now it says, you may think this is an extreme case to us, extreme case, but to us it is not far-fetched. or this kind of thinking, bad thinking or stinking thinking, as some people say, has been characteristic of every single one of us. We have sometimes reflected more than Jim did upon the consequences, but there was always the curious mental phenomenon. Okay, again, the word mental, talking about the mind here, mental phenomena that parallel with our sound reasoning. There inevitably ran some insanely trivial excuse for taking the first drink. So Bill is using the word insane, he's using the word mental, back up here using the word insane. He's using all these different he's using all these different ways of basically saying we're crazy, we're crazy. That's why I have crazy, crazy, crazy. And once we realize that, and again, this is all step one stuff at purpose of this video. Once we come to that acceptance and that understanding of what the disease is doing to us mentally, um, then we can use our defenses, to combat it. And like I said, what your probably said before, main defenses are the program, the meeting, 12 steps, and all that good stuff. So it says, insanely trivial excuse for taking first drink. Our sound reasoning, right, mental blank spots, uh, failed to hold us in check. The insane, again, word insane, more words to describe the craziness. The insane idea won out. Next day, we could ask ourselves in all earnestly and sincerity, how could this have happened again? Like, just think of the movie uh, Hangover, right? Like the next day, you're like, what the hell did we do? What the hell did I do? I gotta go, I gotta go through my phone, look at all my crazy videos, look at all my text messages that I did during the night. See who I pissed off, right? How can we do it? How can we do it again? Right. And then the problem with this is it's just a revolving door. Like we keep doing it, we keep doing it. We get good for a little bit, and then we just keep redoing this. Um and 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 the only way to battle this sound reasoning and all this insane crazy idea stuff here is, I have a little note here, is we got to use our spiritual toolkit, some people say. And what is our spiritual toolkit? Again, AA, the program, the steps, going to meetings, calling people, calling our sponsor, going on Zoom, going on YouTube, maybe replaying my video here, doing whatever we got to do to keep a little AA in our mind, keep the good thoughts in our mind and keep the bad thoughts as much as possible. And then if that doesn't work, get on your hands and knees and pray, you know, just pray and call for help. Use your lifeline, but you got to do everything possible to get all these crazy thoughts. And if you're in a bad place, you're in a bar, you're in a restaurant, you're in a party, you're with friends, then you know what? And if that's triggering you, and all these thoughts are coming in, then you got to get the hell out of there too. That's why they always say when you go to these places, you got to be spiritually fit. So that usually means you got to, have some time and working your program before you go to these places. And when you go to these places, they say always have an escape plan. Keep your car close by, keys in hand. And I always recommend get there late and leave early. So um so no one will notice, and get there late so you don't miss the cocktail hour, and leave early, before while people are already drinking, getting drunk, having a good time and doing stupid shit, and they won't even know what time you left. So in some circumstances, we have just gone out deliberately to get drunk, and I have it here as the efforts, right? We just don't care, or we just gave up. Feeling ourselves justified by nervous anger, pissed off at somebody, worry, maybe you lost a job, depression, jealousy, or alike. Right? This is the big efforts. F her, F him. They dumped me. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna get drunk. Like the stuff that we do. We're gonna get on the. We think we're gonna show everybody off. That we can do it by hitting the bottle. But even in this type of beginning, we are obliged to admit that our justifications for spree, or which is drinking, any justification for going out and getting drunk. And Taiwan on was again insanely, okay, using the word insane, mental, crazy thinking. So for this spree was insanely insufficient in the light of what always happens, right? What always happens? We do stupid shit. We now see that when we began to think deliberately instead of causally, there were little serious or effective thoughts during the period of premeditation of what the terrific consequences might be. So we see here this whole period of premeditation and this whole drinking, deliberately is 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 just as bad as going out there and maybe subconsciously not 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 intending on drinking. So here's someone who's set up on a mission, um, and they're planning on drinking, and again, no thought of the consequences. The mental blank spots. You're not remembering the last thing you did, and the obsession of the mind. It just takes over, and I'm a little bit of a believer that that even though majority of times we don't intend on relapsing, or we don't intend on going out there and getting drunk, say, at night. But what does happen is, I think, a lot of times, let's say, and this is an example, let's say, like, you get up in the morning and your significant other gets into a fight, right? So as soon as you get out, as soon as you get up, as soon as you get out of bed, you know, you walk out to your car, and maybe, like, the dog shit on the grass, and you freaking stepped on it, so now you got crap on your shoes. Now you got to clean that off. Now you get into your car, and you're driving, and now you realize you got a flat tire. You got to change the flat tire, and as a result, you're, like, late getting to work, and now your boss is all pissed off. Your boss gets into it, and here it is. You've already had, fight with significant others, got poop on your shoes, got a flat tire. That's three. Got yelled at by your boss already. Four things have already happened to you, and it's like not even 11 o'clock. It's the morning. So you're having like a bad day, right? So so to me, that's like the catalyst. That's what sets a lot of people up. So it's important to kind of like recognize when you're having those bad mornings, those bad days, and when things are going kind of crazy. You got to kind of like take 5 minutes and, like, run away, go into the bathroom, go somewhere, and, like, make a phone call. You know, read a page out of the big book. Read a prayer. I would take, and I still have on my phone I take pictures of some of, like, my go-to pages. Some spiritual readings, some of, prayers, some of, stuff from the big book, Joe and Charlie stuff. You got to take, 10 5 or 10 minutes, pray, meditate, talk to your sponsor, or talk to another friend in AA, and just try to get your head straight. And then, like, when work is over, go to a meeting as soon as you can before you go home. Because if you don't hit a meeting, like, right after work, after having, like, everything that happened to you in the morning, and maybe having that hard day at work, and then maybe get home, and now the dog is, like, maybe just chewed up your slippers or something like that. And now you really want to kill a dog, and your significant other is really going at it with you again. You might just say, F it, and you're out the door, and you're gonna go hit the bar, or, go hit the liquor store. So it's important to recognize, when the bad thinking, the craziness, and you just got to try to get yourself away from those situations, even if it's for a couple of minutes. Go take a walk or whatever. Go take a long poop, and just sit on. Pretend you're gonna take a poop. Just go sit on the toilet and put the seat down, and just try to get some 5 or 10 minutes of peace and solitude, and just try to get your head back into the game. The All right. So the next story here we have, it's called, and I have it lined off here in my book, because it kind of lets me know that, all right, we finished with Jim, and now we're going to the next story, and 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 this is the jaywalker, and I'm gonna pause here for a second, and hopefully I can get back to finishing this. or I would have to do it in an additional video. All right, sorry, I'm back. So our behavior, the jaywalker, our behavior is an absurd and incomprehensible with respect to the first drink, as that of an individual with a passion, say for jaywalking. He gets a thrill out of skipping in front of a fast-moving vehicles. He enjoys himself for a few years in spite of friendly warnings. Up to this point, you may label him as a foolish chap having queer ideas of fun. Luck then deserts him, and he's slightly injured several times in succession. You would you would expect him, if he were normal, to cut it out. Presently, he is hit again, and this time has fractured skull. Within a week after leaving the hospital, a fast-moving trolley breaks his arm. He tells you he has decided to stop jaywalking for good. But in a few weeks, he breaks his legs. So in other words, he's right back at it, right? He's got a condition. He's doing, something dangerous, more like our drinking. We know it's wrong, we know it's bad, but there's something inside of us that say, hey, we just got to keep doing it. So there's this guy, to some urge that he has inside of him. He just wants to keep going and crossing the street and getting hit by cars. On through the years, his conduct continues, accompanied by continual continual promises to be careful and to keep off the streets together, or continual promises to stop or to try to stop and um, and not to not to drink again. Finally, he can no longer work. His wife gets a divorce, and he's held up to ridicule. He tries every known means to get the jaywalking idea out of his head. Right. So here you see you got a problem of the mind, and finally can no longer work. He's hit rock bottom. Right. So nowhere to go normally, but down. Right. Hit rock bottom. He shuts himself up in asylum, hoping to mend his ways. But the day he comes out, he races right back to the bar. I mean, right back in front of a fire engine, which he breaks his back or he gets drunk again. Such a man would be crazy, wouldn't he? More crazy talk here. And here we got the locking up an asylum. Um, um, you know, our current day of rehabs or sober houses, or I also have here a little note of like the geo cure. I mean, right now he's just trying to get these bad ideas out of his head. So he's trying to change his location, trying to get the you know get the bad stuff away from him by locking himself up, or going to a different location. So it says you may think our illustration is too ridiculous, but is it? Um, it says here I got we on the line because just a reminder it's a we program. It says we who have been through the ringer have to admit if we substituted alcoholism for jaywalking, the illustration would fit us exactly. However, however intelligent we may have been in other respects where alcoholic has been involved, we have been strangely insane. It's strong language, but it's true. So here again, Bill is telling us that we're crazy, right? He's not trying to use mixed words or fancy words, and they're trying to hide it. It's just saying that it's strong language, but it's true. So here in this analogy, the booze is or the jaywalking being used as an analogy for booze. And the purpose of Bill trying to do that is so we can see the truth in it all, because no matter what type of behavior it is or what type of drug it is, alcohol or whatever addiction or condition that we have, um, when it comes down to it, um, it's it's a problem of our mind that we have to try to look at. Um, see some other notes here. There's some stuff in Joe and Charlie. They say, with this paragraph, can we or can we not see the truth about alcohol? If we're insane, if we can, we're sane. If we can't, then we are insane. Intelligence has nothing to do with it. It's all has to do with the disease. To continue. So some of you are thinking, yes, what you tell us is true, but it doesn't fully apply. We admit we have some of these symptoms, but we have not gone to the extremes you fellows did or are likely to. For we understand ourselves so well. After what you have told us, such things cannot happen again. We have lost everything in life through drinking, and we're certainly do not intend to. So, so this is here saying, some of you are thinking, yes, what you tell us is true, but it doesn't really fully apply. So it's kind of like, no, not me, not I. I'm not like that guy. Um, a lot of the not yet, not yet me. And there's a funny guy from my AA that will say the yets, YETS means you're eligible too. So it's a little funny acronym here. And then in this paragraph also has to do with a lot of the lies we tell ourselves. Again, like, we're not like them, that, we're not like you. I got this, I'm doing okay, no worries, the lies we tell ourselves, the lies we tell our families. Thanks for the information. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I said that. Yeah, thank you, I got it, So see, last paragraph here with Fred, and then we'll probably end here. I'm sorry, the last paragraph with the Jaywalker, and then we'll probably end here, and I'll continue with probably the last part, hopefully, of finish up with the last story, Fred, and then the end of this chapter. So that may be true of certain non-alcoholic people who, do drinking foolishly and heavily at the present time, are able to stop or moderate because their brains and bodies have not been damaged as ours. So again, this may be true of certain non-alcoholics. So they're talking about normal people, right? So normal people who will have a bad night, a crazy night, or stupid night where they'll do foolish things, and they might be a weekend warrior and they might drink heavy. But when the time comes, they can stop. Right? That's a key thing. They can stop or they can stay stopped. Really, is what it. I think you should say, because anybody can stop, anybody can moderate, but we want to fully stay stopped. And these people they can stop, they can moderate. Those are normal people, because they're not wired like we are. Right? Their bodies and their brains have not been damaged as ours, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of us have done a lot of damage, especially when it comes to our kidneys and our livers. So those are normal people that they're talking about. But actually, but the actual or potential alcoholic who, with hardly an exception, will be, and here comes the squiggly lines again, will be absolutely unable to stop drinking on the basis of self-knowledge. This is the point we wish to emphasize and reemphasize, to smash home upon our alcoholic readers, as it has been revealed to us out of bitter experience. Let us take another illustration. So we'll go into that illustration in the next video. But this squiggly italicized line here, it's funny how Bill will just put these little things in the middle of paragraphs, because again, he wants to make the point to us. He wants us to stop, look at it, analyze it, talk about it, reread it. And I'll just read it again. It says, absolutely unable to stop drinking on the basis of self-knowledge. So what's the self-knowledge? I mean, what is he talking about in this line? Well, I have a little arrow there, and I've written the word willpower. And that's basically what he's talking about here. He's talking about us using that. We're just trying to stop we're just using our willpower here. We're not using any self-knowledge. And what's the self-knowledge? The programs, AA, 12 steps, using your higher power, using your tools in your toolbox. So he's saying unable to stop drinking on the basis of self-knowledge. So let me rephrase that. He's saying that we're just trying to stop with just the basis of knowing that, oh yeah, alcohol is bad for you and I need to stop. So again, he's using willpower. So what they're not using is the program, the 12 steps, going to meetings and sponsors and all that stuff. So when they say self knowledge, you're just doing it by yourself. Me. You're not doing it as a we. So hope I didn't confuse you with that. If I did, um, write a letter to my editor and complain to them. So that's just to reiterate about the about Jim that we just spoke about. I'll get more into this when I get into like Fred's story. I said Jim is a low bottom drinker. He lost everything. The jaywalker, if he had a name, he lost everything too. He really lost everything. His legs and arms and his family getting locked up in an asylum. So he's a low bottom drinker. The next story, when you get into Fred, and when we talk about Fred, we're going to see that he is what we call a high bottom drinker. Because as we go through his story, we're going to see how he never had really lost anything. So, to the next one, Tony Alcoholic. Thank you very much, and I hope I didn't confuse you too much. If I did, hopefully I'll clear up in the next video. Talk to you later. Tony out.